Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and this week's comic book recap and review. There are certain villains in the DC universe that seem to connect with the general public on multiple levels. One of these happened to be a favorite of mine, Len Snart, also known as Captain Cold. Created by John Broome and Carmine Infantino, he made his debut in Showcase issue number 8 in 1957. Despite his moniker of Captain Cold, a name that conjures up the image of a person who is calculating and unemotional, Leonard has had a troubled and chaotic history. He's been a member and de facto leader of the Rogues from Central City, and a consistent arch-enemy to the Scarlet Speedster, the Flash, but he's also been a member of the Legion of Doom, the Suicide Squad, the Injustice League, and the Secret Society of Supervillains. Now, Leonard did not start out bad, which is why his past is something a lot of readers can relate to, circumstances sometime beyond your own control. His mother died when Leonard was a young boy, leaving only his sister Lisa and his father Louis. Louis could not cope well with the death of his wife and resorted to alcohol to numb the pain, and with that came the physical abuse that Leonard and Lisa endured. Leonard's only break from this misery was when his grandfather would invite him to visit. A lot of that time spent together at his grandfather's work, either in an ice factory or delivering ice in a truck. In his young psyche, Leonard correlated the cold with peace and stability, which is one theory as to why he eventually gravitated towards his ultimate alter ego. At times during different eras, iterations, and reboots, he wielded cryokinesis powers brought on by DNA manipulation, which gave him the ability to create cryokinetic constructs, or he was given cybernetic enhancements from Lex Luthor when briefly working for LexCorp. He is said to have a genius-level intellect, an expert at mechanical engineering, and adept at tactical analysis. He is still primarily known by his original and iconic equipment, his goggles which protect his eyes against the flash of his primary weapon, his blue and white Parker, and of course his cold gun, which is sometimes not actually a cold gun per se, but a weapon that slows down the atoms of any hit target to a halt, causing near death or death from prolonged exposure, from atomic level freezing. But what also makes Leonard relatable is his code of honor. He does not kill innocent people, and does not want to kill at all unless absolutely forced to do so. With that in mind, let's get into Showcase number 8 and take a look back at how this royalty of the DC villain world first ran afoul of the Flash. Titled The Coldest Man on Earth, this story was a small insert into the larger issue. The first panel depicting the first time Leonard ever fired his cold gun at the Flash and the danger it brought to the hero of Central City. We then turn back to earlier in the day. A man is walking in the summertime heat wearing a blue and white Parker and strange goggles. The public around mock and insult him. He does not care. He is on a mission, one to introduce himself to the world. He draws a fantastic looking weapon and fires it at a skyscraper, freezing all inside, covering every surface with near zero temperature. He walks up to a vault made of 4-inch thick steel. With the strike of a simple, small hammer, the now brittle frozen steel shatters like glass, allowing the man entry into the vault to steal all the money he can. We then see Barry Allen working in his lab and listening to a radio connected to police headquarters. The alarm at the Parson building has gone off, and Barry immediately ejects his alter ego suit into the air and watches as it expands into that of the Flash's recognizable costume. We next see the Scarlet Speedster leaping over buildings with ease and then running vertically down a skyscraper to confront the man in blue and white. The man sees the Flash and introduces himself. He tells the Flash that, quote, "You'll never defeat Captain Cold." With confidence, Captain Cold fires his cold gun at the Flash, striking him, but it does nothing. The Flash is vibrating too fast for it to have any effect, but Captain Cold is intelligent. He next fires at the ground beneath Flash's feet. The newly formed ice does not allow the Flash to get any traction, causing him to just run in place. This gives Captain Cold enough time to make his escape, and the Flash vows that next time he will capture this new foe. We are then transported back to how Captain Cold first came to be. A low-end criminal, Len Snart, is reading through the newspaper trying to figure out a way to neutralize the Flash so he can then take whatever he wants. A science article catches his eye, an article all about the Flash, and Leonard believes that if he can get his hands on that research, his answer will be found. That night, Snart breaks into the magazine's office and steals the manuscript for the article. He learns that, in theory, a cyclotron will interfere with the Flash's speed. Now only if he can figure out a way to incorporate that into a weapon of some kind. A few nights later, Leonard breaks into the cyclotron building. He has a specially made gun that he crafted himself to absorb the radiation from the machine. He pulls at the levers the wrong way on the cyclotron, not knowing how to work the machine, and a blast of radiation emits and strikes his gun sitting on a nearby table. Nervous and not wanting to get hurt, Leonard leaves only to be confronted by a night watchman. He pulls the experimental weapon from his pocket, accidentally fires it at the night watchman, and stunningly, it freezes him like a block of ice. A while later, Leonard has crafted himself a new costume, one fitting of his new MO. He looks himself up and down in a mirror and tries to think of a name befitting of his outwardly appearance. Mr. Arctic? Cold Wave? Sub-Zero? Human Icicle? No. Captain Cold. That's what he will call himself. We re-enter the present. Leonard is now in his cold chamber, puzzled with how to make his cold gun even stronger so he can truly defeat the Flash. He tries putting liquid helium in the firing mechanism. He tests it out. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, a polar bear emerges. Captain Cold fires his weapon at the bear, but it still lunges at him. But remarkably, it passes through him like a ghost. Snart realizes that the immense cold created a bear, like a mirage, much like the extreme heat would do in a desert. It takes several minutes for the image of the bear to dissipate. Captain Cold believes he has now found his answer. Barry Allen is alerted once again from his police radio. Civic Park is frozen over solid. The Flash races to the scene, positive that this is the work of Captain Cold. From behind a tree, Captain Cold targets the Flash. He fires his gun and creates the illusion of a dozen staircases all closing in on the Flash, a most disorienting illusion. The Flash runs in a circle to destroy the staircases, thinking that they are real, but from afar, Captain Cold sees only the Flash tiring himself out by running like a dog chasing his own tail. Cold's glasses allow him to see reality, and not the mirage. The staircases disappear on their own. The Flash is confused. Cold fires again. This time, the Flash is trapped in a merry-go-round filled with huge mutant beasts. The Flash ponders his fate, but as he continues to tire himself out, the mirage again disappears. A third blast brings a circle of buzzsaws threatening the Scarlet Speedster. Snart believes that this will be enough to sap the Flash's strength and resolve, but Barry senses cold coming from this mirage, which can mean only one thing. Captain Cold is behind it all. The Flash uses his speed to burst through the illusion and immediately sees Captain Cold standing next to the tree. The Flash uses his super speed to run in a circle around his new foe. Cold tries to hit the Flash, but he cannot because the Flash is moving so fast, he is creating an illusion of his own. Dozens of fake Flash images. Soon the Flash is moving so fast that the air around Captain Cold creates a friction, like a net, wrapping him up and allowing the Flash to drag him to police headquarters. His reign of terror is now over. Later on, Barry Allen, back in his lab, talks with his partner about the Flash's latest fight with Captain Cold, and does so while warming his hands over a Bunsen burner. And thus ends the first appearance of one of the Flash's most infamous rogues in his gallery of villains, and I hope you enjoyed this look back at the origin of Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who is your favorite Flash villain? Do you think DC Studios needs to put Captain Cold on the big screen? And if you want more comic book fun, check out my playlist Welcome to the Comicverse by clicking on the link in the description below. And if you did like this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd comment, like, subscribe, and share it out with your friends. It really helps out the channel each week. I thank you for listening. As always, remember I'm still your reluctant gringo from south of the border. Salud and a huevo.